Sainsbury's. Probably partly to do with the fact that they've got no real unique selling point, and they are effectively just a B-Tech version of Tesco, with no real selling point. Well, to put it bluntly, the type of people that shop there are the same type of people that wipe front to back. It's not as... Finance Greg here. Today's video we're going to discuss the UK supermarket stocks and what their trajectory looks like looking forwards, and at the end of the video I'm going to show you my favourite stock of all of the stocks in the UK, and which I strongly believe will do incredibly well. Stay tuned for that at the end. So to start things off, we're going to start off with the biggest supermarket in the UK, Tesco. Now, Tesco's business model, and the reason it's so successful, is because it's based off the Tesco Club Card feature that it has. Now, looking at the actual stock now, you can see it's remained fairly flat over the last 5 years or so, partly due to the fact that there was a loss of trust in 2013 due to their financial scandal. I mean, this is something people should be used to. This isn't new. Most firms, I think, in my opinion, probably, mess with their figures slightly all the time to try and make profits look better and net revenue look better than they actually are. It's just that they got caught, obviously. Now, here's the interesting thing, right, about this stock that makes me curious as to purchasing this stock, right? I'll tell you this, their current valuation is lower than when everything was crashing around March and April of 2020. Now, it's not as if, they were doing tremendously well during the pandemic and then suddenly they've now sloped off. They're not some massive tech stock. They're not Peloton or anything like that. They did tremendously well and benefit highly off the pandemic. I mean, remember Peloton? Bloody hell. I mean, every fat person, everyone, if their fucking granny got one of them things, them Peloton bikes in the COVID pandemic, and guess what? It's now collecting dust. What's their chocolate drawer now is probably filled to the absolute brim. Anyway, I digress. But Tesco being Tesco, just like all of the other supermarkets really on this list that we're going to discuss, the revenue growth isn't massive, and they've stayed fairly flat in terms of revenue, net income obviously, except for the pandemic. So generally speaking, most of these supermarkets, they're not going to provide you with massive returns, except for the one I'm going to be speaking about soon at the end of this video, so don't forget about that. But these are going to be the types of stocks that are going to provide you with dividends. They're going to be heavily dividend paying stocks. And the same way like Coca-Cola, their revenues aren't growing massively anymore. They're very much just safe oriented dividend paying stocks. Now, moving on to what was the biggest supermarket before it got dethroned by Tesco, is Sainsbury's. Now, the stock has had some up and down times in the last 5 years. It hasn't remained quite as flat as, say, Tesco. Now, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I would not be seriously looking at buying any stock in Sainsbury's. Probably partly to do with the fact that they've got no real unique selling point, and they are effectively just a B-Tech version of Tesco, with no real selling point. Well, to put it bluntly, the type of people that shop there are the same type of people that wipe front to back. It's not as big as Tesco. Tesco's got the unique selling point of the amazing club card that's really effective and really grabs people in and gets them returning customers in the doors. So the only thing that they have over Tesco is they provide a slightly higher dividend yield. Okay, so now turning our attention to the third stock, which is Marks and Spencer's. Now, we know the type of people that go to M&S. It's the retirees, those Granny Marjorie or Granny Bucket, loving their meal deals, But looking at their financials, it appears that there is a recovery, and they are recovering slowly but surely from the COVID mess, which reduced their profits significantly. This goes to demonstrate how elastic M&S and those types of higher end supermarkets can be when it comes to any sensitivity in the markets from external geopolitical events. So that's something to bear in mind when looking at something like M&S as compared to ones that tend to be more inelastic, such as Aldi or Tesco or Lidl, which, depending on your risk tolerance, can be a good or a bad thing. Now, if you're of the opinion that the economy is going to start to stabilise soon, then this is probably a great opportunity to buy, because I like to think of a stock like this on sale, especially if you think the economy is going to start to grow once again and you don't think there's going to be substantial issues with inflation and high unemployment to come. Now, this is going to be the stock that I am going to buy. This stock right here I'm about to talk about is going to be the stock which I believe is going to do phenomenal. Out of everything, out of all of the other stocks in this industry, if you can even possibly say it's in the same industry, it's in not just the supermarket industry, but also the technology-based industry. So this stock I'm about to talk about is, of course, Ocado. Now, Ocado isn't just the run-of-the-mill supermarket. No. They, in fact, they're basically a delivery service company in which they'll deliver, say, from M&S to your front door. And you do all of the shopping. It's all online, which is, you might say, oh, the stock's overpriced, because of the COVID thing and all the different stocks. It's like Peloton. No, this stock has fallen dramatically. If you look at where it was during the peak as compared to where it is now, 2 years later, right, there's a big difference. And there's not only that part of the business, but there's this technology part of the business which I touched upon, called Ocado Smart Platform. Now, this is at the forefront of the company and their AI system, which they're going to use to generate more products and also help reduce costs involved. This type of thinking and innovation at the forefront of the company is what sets them apart to Tesco and Sainsbury's and Morrison's and Aldi and Waitrose and all these other ones that aren't thinking about the technology that they themselves can use. Because Tesco, you can get an online delivery from Tesco, but can you get it in the same way that Ocado does it? Is it as efficient as Ocado? The answer is no. You don't see Tesco pumping in millions and millions of pounds into innovation and AI technology to help improve them. They're behind the curve, all of these other competitors are. Throughout the pandemic, this stock got a lot of hype, and it's fallen over 5 times what it originally was. This just demonstrates that people aren't paying attention to Ocado now since the post-pandemic hype, and forgotten what the technology can do for the company, especially since the fundamentals of the company have not changed, which is a big indication that the stock is being slept on by all of the mainstream firms. I just genuinely think this stock is really being slept upon. It's one of the biggest undervalued companies right now in the UK. With their vision, it's going to change the way people do online grocery shopping completely.